Hello and welcome to Northeast Tonight, the show that decodes the region. There were hardly any surprises, or rather no surprises, at the results of the by-elections to the 4 assembly seats in Tripura that came out yesterday. The BJP bagged 3 and got Chief Minister Manik Saha elected from one of these seats, and the Congress won when its candidate Tripura Burman emerged victorious in the Agartala seat. But the poll verdict, viewers, is not as simple as it looks. There are several political indicators that have emerged out of the voting behavior and the results, which can be well taken as an electoral barometer ahead of the state assembly elections next year. First, take the Agartala seat results. Can it be regarded as a Congress win or the candidate Tripura Burman's victory? The Congress may find this question silly, but one may pose this question because BJP leader and State Chief Minister Manik Saha has publicly stated that the Congress entered into an understanding with the CPM for the Agartala seat and that got CPM votes transferred to Roy Burman. Some BJP leaders make the same charges insofar as Town Bordwali seat won by Manik Saha. We shall try to find the answers. The second point I would like to flag tonight is the not so impressive showing by the Trinamool Congress. This despite the innumerable visits by top Trinamool Congress leaders to Tripura in the past few weeks and months. Is it fair to write off the TMC taking the by-poll voting pattern as an indicator? Certainly not. One has to wait and watch. Now, can the BJP sit back and relax just because it has won 3 of the 4 seats? Well, which of these parties could possibly be the BJP's main challenger in 2023? The CPM, Congress or Trinamool? To discuss these and more, I am joined from Agartala tonight by 4 of Tripura's topmost political leaders, all highly respected voices from the state. Joining me is Mr. Jitendra Chaudhary, CPIM State Secretary and former MP. Also with me is Dr. Ashok Sinha, BJP State Vice President. On the show is Mr. Sudeep Roy Burman, Congress leader and MLA. And also with me is Mr. Subal Bhaumik, State Trinamool Congress President and former MLA. Gentlemen, welcome to Northeast Tonight. First, let me go to you, Mr. Ashok Sinha of the BJP. Now, you know, you have got 3 seats. The Congress won the Agartala 6th seat comfortably. Mr. Sudeep Roy Burman is sitting on the show. Now, your Chief Minister, he was your immediate rival. Now, your Chief Minister says that the Congress has an understanding with the CPM, and that is the reason why Mr. Ashok Sinha, that is the reason, that is what your Chief Minister said, that, you know, CPM had an understanding with the Congress or the Congress had an understanding with the CPM, and therefore Sudeep Roy Burman won. Now, are you not accepting the people's verdict?
Why not? People have given a decision. We have very gracefully and humbly accepted the decision. There is no doubt about it. Whether the vote comes from this bucket or that bucket doesn't make a difference. These are votes from the people. That has to be accepted. And we accept it very humbly. Leaving that apart, talking about the relationship between the Congress and the CPM, Mr. Sudeep Roy Burman himself declared it. So there is no question of someone else from another party talking about it. Mr. Roy Burman himself made an announcement that to defeat the BJP, he would take the assistance from CPM. Now, this is his statement, not ours. We just reiterated what he said.
Okay.
I'm making it very clear that this is the statement of Mr. Roy Burman himself. Somehow, right. I'm not able to see the other things, other panelists. What can I do to see them?
You cannot do anything much right now, but we are all seeing you. You're loud and clear.
Okay.
Your voice is
okay. I try to remember the faces of Mr. Chaudhary, Bhaumik, and my friend Raj Burman.
Yes.
Fine, thank you.
Now, you know, Mr. Jitendra Chaudhary is there, Mr. Sudeep Roy Burman is on the show, and also Mr. Subal Bhomik, Trinamool Congress President. Now, let me go to you, Mr. Jitendra Chaudhary, CPIM State Secretary, former Member of Parliament, a very, very senior leader of the CPIM in Tripura. Mr. Chaudhary, you have just heard, Dr. Ashok Sinha, the state BJP vice president, saying that, he has said that Mr. Sudeep Roy Burman has himself said that he's going to take the help of the CPM. That's what he said. Now, has there been any kind of an understanding at all between the CPIM and the Congress as far as the Tripura by-elections were concerned?
Yes, that is said to Dr. Sinha, while leveling the charge upon the CPIM and the Congress, whether the bypoll which has been conducted really any fearfully has been conducted there, or it is repetition of last 4.5 years, number one. And number two, what charges they are blaming, that is rebelling. There in 4 constituencies, we CPIM and our ally forward block, we have put up our candidates, and there, that is as like the other elections, what sort of our whole effort we have invested there. We have campaigned accordingly. So if there we have adjusted, we have some understanding in a particular constituency, that means in 6 Agartala. So we should have been there also in Bardwani, there in Solma, there in Jugasnagar. It has not happened. So it is a very, ridiculous the charges are leveling. And yes, it is the people, even despite all odds, in attempt of the BJP, they put it, and Mr. Sudeep Roy Burman, he owned. And in other constituencies also, similar thing would have been happened if the machineries and the BJP, what way they conduct the election, that would have been conducted.
Okay.
And people are ready for that.
Right. I'll once again come to you, Mr. Chaudhary. Let me go. I'm coming to you in a minute, Subal Bhomik ji. But let me go to Mr. Sudeep Roy Burman. Mr. Sudeep Roy Burman, before coming to what Manik Saha had said that there was an understanding, but before that, my direct question to you, is it a victory of the Congress or is it a win of Sudeep Roy Burman? How do you see it?
No, I read it the other way. It's a victory for the democracy. It's a victory for the people of 6th Agartala Assembly constituency who has shown the rest of the people of Tripura that if you resist the fascist forces, you can win the race, or we can win any elections, or you can come across any obstacles and hurdles. That's the message being given by the people of 6th Agartala Assembly constituency. And so it's a victory for the people of the state, and therefore it's a victory of democracy.
Now, how do you respond to Chief Minister Manik Saha's statement yesterday that there has been an understanding, there was some kind of an understanding between the Congress and the CPIM, and a lot of CPIM votes got transferred to you, and that is why you won. But of course, this has been rejected a short while ago by Mr. Jitendra Chaudhary, CPIM State Secretary, who is on the program tonight. What do you have to say, Mr. Sudeep Roy Burman?
It's an absolutely nonsense talk. Fact of the matter is, after I joined Congress, I categorically stated, I want to reiterate once again in television today, that to defeat the BJP is our only goal. Our only political enemy is BJP and nobody else. Because at that point of time, and till now it exists, that lot of hooliganism and mayhem, rowdyism, all these things are going on in our state. These have become a day-to-day incident now. And yesterday also I said in my press meet that very shortly, since I am elected, I will be inviting the rest of the political opponent parties for a cup of tea to take stock of the situation and how to stop this bloodshed that is going on in hour to hour. So
Okay.
that was my statement, and now if someone has misread it, I can't help it.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
up to them
Let me,
how they judge.
right.
But one thing I would like to say, will the BJP not say that when in 2018 I contested as a BJP candidate, I got 25,000 votes. Now the vote has declined to 14,000. That means the 11,000 votes of BJP are with me, and I secured this time another 6,000 more. So don't you think within these 4.5 months that I am in Congress, and through my organizational skills and my knowing to every voter, that will fetch me another 6,000 votes? Is it an uphill task? So now they want to now if their reading is as such that the
Okay.
CPM candidate has got more, in and around 8,000 votes. If you see the parliament election also, they got 9,000 votes. So the vote percentage was almost similar to that the last parliamentary elections. Why
Right.
did not they, aren't they saying that?
I will.
So these are all ridiculous things that they want to that they want to put in my mouth, or they are spreading all these lies to confuse the
Right.
people.
I will once again come to you, Mr. Sudip Rai Burman. Let me turn to Subal Bhaumik ji, the president of the Trinamool Congress in Tripura, former MLA. Subal Bhaumik ji, आप क्या सुदीप राय बर्मन के साथ चाय पीने के लिए जाएंगे?
Yeah, always. He is my good friend. I think in democracy, it will ये होना ही चाहिए.
So,
Actually, last thing, Congress and CPM both are togetherness. Last election in Bengal, we got their they fought together. That is why we have seen that Mr. Rai Burman also stated seriously that when BJP will attack us, then CPM will resist them. CPM attacked us, then BJP will Congress will resist them. That is why some confusion is there. So we got a narrow margin in the last election
right.
because we have started our journey from August.
लेकिन एक बात
ये
बताइए, सुबल भौमिक जी, जिस तरह से तृणमूल कांग्रेस का जो इलेक्शन कैंपेन जिस तरह से हुआ था, जिस तरह से आपका जो वरिष्ठ नेतागण है, जिस तरह से वे त्रिपुरा दौरे में थे, लास्ट सेवरल मंथ, सेवरल वीक्स, तृणमूल का नंबर 2 अभिषेक बनर्जी हिमसेल्फ केम सो मेनी टाइम्स, सुष्मिता देव भी थे, आप खुद यू आर लीडिंग द कैंपेन. तो आप ये मानेंगे क्या, जो सोचा गया था उससे बहुत कम आपका वोट शेयर हो रहा है, तो इसका कारण क्या है?
लेकिन बाई इलेक्शन इज डिफरेंट, जनरल इलेक्शन इज डिफरेंट. दैट इज व्हाई वी हैव सेड दैट देखिए इसमें बाई इलेक्शन में पावर चेंज का कोई बात नहीं. इसमें ये जो लास्ट 25 इयर्स सुदीप बर्मन जी का ये कंस्टिट्यूंसी है. लास्ट 25 इतने सारे इलेक्शन में ये कंटेस्ट है, तो उन्होंने विन किया है. बट दिस इलेक्शन not change the dimension of the politics in Tripura, because previously Sudip Burman also holding
Right.
So
Right.
that is why at all two direction will come. Congress will come. Previously, Congress got that constitution.
Right.
So
Now,
we have think
correct.
new dimension will come that Congress will survive in future. We have no
Okay.
idea.
Now,
Or,
let me let me bring in once again Dr. Ashok Sinha of the BJP. Dr. Ashok Sinha, do you now suspect? You are saying that the Congress has an understanding with the CPIM. Now, in 2023, when you go for the state assembly elections, do you think? What is your assessment? Do you think that there can be a opposition understanding or an opposition unity, whether there can be an understanding between the Congress, Trinamool as well as the CPIM? Do you suspect that?
No, there is no question of suspecting anything. There is no crime being committed that I'll suspect. You see, when other parties take a decision, we come to know from their statements. Our honorable member of the State Assembly, Mr. Raibarman, has very clearly declared that he is going to have an understanding with the CPIM and all opposition forces to defeat the BJP. He made a statement. It is not my statement. So let's not beat around the bush. He made this statement in a public place, publicly, and he knows it, and all of us know it. So there's no question of suspecting it. It is there. And I've been missing a lot of the discussion because of some connectivity problems. So maybe I'll add a bit here, if you permit me.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, whether in this election CPIM helped Congress or not can be seen by two things. One is the reduction of vote percentage of the CPM in at least in the two Agartala seats. In Agartala, it was nearly 40% or above, which came down to 27% in parliament election. And this time, it is 16%. This decremental position of the CPI from 27% to 6% is exactly the same number of votes that has shifted to the Congress. Now, you can make 2 plus 2 or you can ignore it if you want. This will be conjecture.
Dr. Ashok Sinha, you were Mr. Sudip Rai Burman's, both of you contested for the same seat. You were his direct rival. Direct rival. Now today, are you saying on the show, are you saying on the program that you lost because CPM votes are transferred to Mr. Sudip Rai Burman? Otherwise, you would have won. Are you saying that?
See, I told you initially, I lost because more people voted for Mr. Rai Burman. Whether they are CPI members or not, they have a fundamental right to vote for anyone they want. They are not bonded laborers of any party. Let it be clear. I have accepted the grand success of Mr. Rai Burman as he has received more votes than me. That's the thing. On that, there is no argument. I have congratulated him. We still remain good friends. There's no problem in it. Political question, if you ask me, whether some votes from this camp shifted to that. Yes, they did.
Okay.
Is there anything wrong in it?
Nothing wrong.
There is nothing wrong in it.
Nothing wrong. I'm coming to you, Jitendra Chaudhary ji. Just give me 1 minute. Let me take a response from Mr. Sudip Rai Burman. Mr. Sudip Rai Burman, you have heard what your good friend Dr. Ashok Sinha has said. He said that, the fact that you got more votes is fine, but he also said that vote from one camp has definitely shifted to the other camp, that is to you.
One has to be a magician to transfer vote very calculatively. CPM got in and around 8,000 votes in 6 Agartala Assembly constituency. So, from where did the 8,000 vote landed up? Had the vote been shifted, they would have shifted the entire vote. And it was not that I won by a landslide margin. It is only 3,100 something 62 votes. So, do you think the voters are that magician that they calculatively, it's in a methodical manner, they will cast the vote in such a manner that CPM also should get a respectable vote, and we should ensure that Sudeep Rai Burman also wins. I would have been happy had Mr. Sinha said the things prior to the elections or during the election campaign. All this are being told right now after the elections are over. Probably he didn't say, I could understand, probably he didn't say because at that point of, had he said, a chunkable number of CPM oriented voters would have shifted in my favor. Apprehending that, probably he didn't say that. But nevertheless,
I agree with
nobody
you.
has seen nobody has seen tomorrow. If he wants that that it will help benefit the BJP if Congress and CPIM or left parties come together. We are ready to help the BJP in that manner also in the coming days, if he doesn't mind.
Okay,
so.
let me go to Jitendra Chaudhary ji. Mr. Jitendra Chaudhary, State Secretary of the CPIM, former MP. Mr. Jitendra Chaudhary, now you see in 2018, the left front was defeated by the BJP after a long reign of 25 years. Now we are having an elections in 2023, 5 years down the line. Do you think that an opposition unity in Tripura is feasible? Is it possible for parties like the Congress, CPM, or for even, why not, even the Trinamool to come together, because all of you think that BJP is your common enemy? Do you think on that premise, do you think that there can be an opposition unity coming, or can we expect that in Tripura?
No, see, other way that has to be understood that in 2018, all anti-lab votes that was in one, and that way BJP has owned. If you see the tally of 2013 election, there BJP's vote share from the entire state was even less than 3%. And that BJP vote share, it has increased by another 43%, which is a total 45%. That is all anti-lab votes. It has maybe merged with the BJP IPL. Now there, due to the 5 years, 4.5 years, now it will be another, after 6 months, it will be 5 years, due to the anti-people. And they have grossly failed to implement their promise. So that voters who were shifted to BJP in 2013, now all these votes are once again, it is eroding, and this time in 6th Agartala, in other places also, the opposition candidates, they secured the vote, that vote only which was shifted in 2018. So now the question is that what you are asking both Mr. Dr. Sinha and Mr. Rai Burman. So what will be the combination in 2020?
Yeah.
What I'd like to tell you, whether there would be any electoral adjustment or electoral front of the opposition parties together as and others.
Yes.
The secular parties. But one thing I like to categorically state here, that to stop these BJP's their efforts for to enslaught the democratic process. How last 4.5 years, the democratic right, voting right, it has been snatched away. Even in this election also, entire country has seen, witnessed how on broad daylight the voters have stand.
Right.
And they were, obstructed. So to stop this, to check this, yes, Mr. Sudeep Rai Burman also is taking that initiative.
Okay. All right.
He also, so that political initiative is not the electoral initiative. That's the thought. That is going to happen. to check the BJP's anti-people, anti-democratic move.
Okay, now you are
That is
giving,
very
you are
much
giving,
essential for the
Mr. Chaudhary, you are giving,
Yeah.
you are giving subtle hints. You are giving subtle hints of some kind of an opposition understanding. Let me bring in Mr. Subal Bhomik on this issue. Subal Bhomik ji, you know, do you think आप क्या ये समझते हैं कि you know, do you think Trinamool Congress is not particularly a new player, but इस टाइम इस बार जो आपका नेतागण जो जितना नेतागण आए हैं जिस तरह के आपने एफर्ट डाला है त्रिपुरा में एक टो होल्ड या फुट होल्ड मिलने के लिए जो आप एफर्ट डाल रहा है तो ये सब लोग कोई देख रहा है now will you be interested in an opposition unity? What is the Trinamool stand going to be for 2023? Are you going to fight solo or do you want to bring other opposition anti-BJP parties together? आपका क्या स्ट्रेटेजी होंगे?
Vote bank politics in Tripura. लास्ट असेंबली चुनाव 2018 में सीपीएम ने नियर अबाउट 48% और 47% वोट मिला था, कांग्रेस को 1.7% वोट मिला था. कांग्रेस got 1.7% in 2018. After 1 year, that is 2019 Lok Sabha, Congress got 27%, CPIM got only 14%. After that, 2021, AMC and the municipal council election, Trinamool got in general 24% vote. In Agartala AMC, 20.22% vote. Congress got below 1% vote. How you will assure that in Tripura there is some vote bank? How?
No, yeah, that is true. I have taken your point. So, Bhomik ji, Subal Bhomik ji.
Before 2018, त्रिपुरा में इसका कोई वोट बैंक नहीं था बीजेपी का
जी,
वो पावर में चला गया. आज देखा है ना, ये जो इलेक्शन है, ये जो बाई इलेक्शन हुआ, इस बाई इलेक्शन में कोई डायमेंशन चेंज नहीं होगा. ये सुदीप बाबू का सीट सुदीप बाबू को मिल गया, ये तो लास्ट 25 इयर्स था. लेकिन इस सीट मिलने से भी यहाँ में पावर में लास्ट 25 इयर्स सीपीएम ही था. पावर में चेंज होने का साथ ये इलेक्शन नहीं है.
नो, ये ठीक है, ये ठीक है. सुबल भौमिक जी,
जो
आप
ना इस पोजीशन बीजेपी का था 2018 का पहले, लेकिन वो इतना थम्पिंग मेजोरिटी लेकर आ गया पावर में. दैट इज व्हाई आई एम सेइंग टू यू दैट वोट बैंक पॉलिटिक्स त्रिपुरा में नहीं चलेगा, नहीं होगा. अभी किसी का पास वोट बैंक नहीं है. तो लास्ट चुनाव में क्यों बिलो 1% था कांग्रेस में. अभी तो कांग्रेस एक सीट भी मिल गया, एमएलए भी हो गया. तो लास्ट आफ्टर 10 मंथ 9 मंथ असेंबली चुनाव होने वाला है. दैट इज व्हाई वी आर सेइंग दैट नो वोट बैंक इन त्रिपुरा. किसी पार्टी का कोई वोट बैंक नहीं है. पार्टी ये इस चुनाव में हम लोग अभी लास्ट और जर्नी शुरू हुआ लास्ट अगस्त महीना से अभी चल रहा है. देखिए, जनरल इलेक्शन और बाई इलेक्शन ये डिफरेंस. बाई इलेक्शन में कोई पावर चेंजिंग का बात नहीं होता है.
सुबल भौमिक जी,
तो ठीक है जो
या सुबल भौमिक जी, आपने मेरा प्रश्न का सीधा उत्तर तो नहीं दिया. मैं यही पूछता था, एक सिंपल सा सवाल आपसे किया था कि आप क्या 2023 इलेक्शन में आप अकेले लड़ेंगे या आपके साथ कोई अलायंस पार्टनर होंगे? सीधा उत्तर दीजिए.
देखिए, हम लोग तैयार है. कोई अलायंस तो किसी का साथ नहीं है त्रिपुरा में. ये जो टेसिट इलेक्शन, टेसिट अलायंस कांग्रेस का साथ क्या है, लोकल पार्टी का ये टेसिट है. उनका कोई कॉमन मिनिमम प्रोग्राम नहीं है. उनको क्या जो लोकल पार्टी का जो डिमांड है त्रिपुरा लैंड का, वो कांग्रेस क्या सपोर्ट किया और किया नहीं, उनका पास है. लेकिन वो लोग बताया हम लोग का साथ एक लोकल पार्टी का अलायंस हो गया, एक सीट हम लोग छोड़ दिया. तो ऑन व्हाट बेसिस ये छोड़ दिया था? तो उनका डिमांड को
okay. I'll have to
ओपन है, हम लोग बात
Yeah.
करने के लिए कोई पार्टी आए
Okay.
तो लोकल पार्टी बात करेंगे।
Dr. Ashok Sinha, you are saying something. Dr. Ashok Sinha, आप कुछ बोल,
या
you are saying something. Yes.
या मैं काफी देर से कुछ कहने की कोशिश कर रहा था।
Yeah.
देखिए, हम लोग जो पॉलिटिशियन है ना, वो सीधी बात बताने में हिचकते हैं, थोड़ा इधर उधर बोल के राउंड अबाउट वे वी अवॉइड द आंसर, ये हैबिट है, पुराना है, चलता है। बट आई टेल यू स्ट्रेट फ्रॉम द हार्ट, Subal Bhomik, Mr. Sudeep Radhaman, and Ashok Sinha, we worked together in the Congress at one time when BJP was not in existence in Tripura. We worked to root out the CPM from the state. And one of our strongest fighters against the CPM was Mr. Subal Bhomik and Mr. Sudeep Radhaman. I remember Sudeep Radhaman had even said once that he would change his religion if necessary to remove the CPM because CPM has been violent on the state. I'm not going to argue on this. All of us, all four of us sitting here know what CPM did during their reign. So let us not bring it back for publication again. So now what has happened is Congress has been unable to oust the Communist Party because the Central Congress, the Congress in Delhi, never allowed us to do. Mr. Radhaman knows this. It was the same reason why he quit Congress. I quit Congress along with him because the CPM was friendly with the Congress in Delhi. We used to call it Delhi mein dosti, state mein kusti.
Yeah.
Barmanji knew it, and he knows it now even. He knows that Congress is aligned with CPM in the center. He knows it. Now, a vehemently anti-communist person like Sudeep Rai Burman wants to take help of the CPM to remove BJP. It would appear as if BJP is so violent, BJP is so fascist, and all those cliche sentences that you hear about any party, fascists, this and that, violent, non-democratic, anti-what and that. That goes on. I am not repeating those words.
Okay.
Now, Mr.
Okay.
Rai Burman now is joining his
Okay. Let us.
absolute
You have to be.
opponent.
You have to be.
One second. He is joined. I'll finish
no,
on
let
it,
us-
but I
let
have
us-
given for a very long time.
You have to be.
Now he wants
you
to
have
join the same party
I have to
that
give-
You are a
he
bit
pledged to
partial.
oust.
You have to give
There
time to
is
us.
something
No one
gravely
will
wrong
can
in
find
this.
out that,
Because either he is right now or he was right earlier.
Okay.
CPM was bad earlier, now it is good.
No.
I
Let
don't
him
think so.
respond. Let him respond. Let him respond.
I'll take one more second and then probably my turn will come after the show is over. So I'll finish up with this. Regarding the CPM, the way its votes are eroding from 2018 onwards, if Mr. Chaudhary claims that the last vote, this vote, the erosion was not intentional, then sir, this is a very bad news. From 51% in 4 years, it come down
Okay.
in town Bardoli to only 2,000 votes.
Okay.
That's bad news for you if it was not intentional.
Right.
If it was intentional, you might play around for some
your
more
turn
time.
your turn, Dr. Ashok Sinha, your turn will come again, not after the show, but within the show. Let Dr.
Thank you.
let
Thank
let
you. So
let,
kind of you.
let Mr. Sudeep Rai Burman respond. I will take a quick response from Mr. Jiten Chaudhary, and then I will go for a 1-minute break. Yes, Mr. Sudeep Rai Burman.
Yeah. What Mr. Ashok Sinha said, yes, I fought against the communist forces because sometimes they were violent, of course. I don't deny the fact. But at least I can openly say they, just for vote bank politics, they did not divide the society under the name of religion, in the name of caste, community and creed. There was no bloodshed. There was no temple and Hindu or mosque ladai. There was no Hindu-Musliman ladai. There was no Christian-Hindu ladai that is going on in the entire country. So I think just all the scenario, if you really are a patriot and owe something to the soil, you have to defeat these communal forces who are dividing the society in the name of religion, caste, community and creed. Just their aim is just to grab power, grab power, remain in power, and earn money like anything. Of course, I don't intend to say to us, Mr. Dr. Ashok Sinha, but yes, of course, Ashok Sinha also knows it about it. Now, since he has joined politics till yesterday, if you go through his Facebook postings, you will come to know what his intentions were. Now that he's the candidate, of course, he will be telling something else. But the fact of the matter is, no one can deny the fact that whatever we are witnessing in India today was never witnessed when Congress was in power in the center, and I can boldly say, nor did we witness when the left was in power in Tripura for the last 25 years. But
Okay.
these 4.5 years, they have made the life miserable for the common citizen of the state.
Okay, there are a lot of points where Mr.
Mr. Raibormon, that religious fundamental, they are not religious fundamentalists, but they are political fundamentalists, those who are leftist. बिकॉज आप देखिए वन पार्टी रोल होना चाहिए, ये आज जो चल रहा है ना, बीजेपी जो कर रहा है, एक दिन ये लोग ये भी किया है, लेफ्टिस्ट लोग, कि हमारा एक ही पार्टी रहेंगे, वन पार्टी रोल होगा, दूसरा कोई पड़े, तो वो लोग रिलीजियस फंडामेंटलिस्ट, बट लेफ्टिस्ट आर पॉलिटिकल फंडामेंटलिस्ट.
Okay, Jiten Chaudhary ji, your response. No, Jiten Chaudhary ji is right. Right, Jiten Chaudhary ji, your response.
There be among the audiences, especially number of people from Agartala and Tripura also.
Can I get a better voice?
They're watching this program.
Studied.
And
Yeah, in one.
Dr. Ashok Sinha, a renowned physician, child specialist. Child specialist means that is as a human being, very much soft. So I think just second before what Dr. Sinha said, that why other than the BJP party, other secular party, democratic party, such a defeat BJP, why they are joining hands, why they are echoing together. So only thing in our country today, what Mr. Raghavan just said, that today in our country, not only the state of Tripura alone, what is the big danger for the citizen of this? Whether our constitution, the secular fabric,
Right.
the dream of our forefathers who laid their lives. Just after 1 month, we are going to celebrate our 75th year of independence.
Right.
Really, that will happen. So that is a big question today.
Absolutely.
So,
I take your point.
Defend that, to defend that dream, the idea of India, that today they're all secular political parties. And even what Mr. Subramanian said, I don't know, मेरे को तो समझ में नहीं आया, क्यों ममता बनर्जी ने ये जो राष्ट्रपति चुनाव में सबको बुलाया, लेकिन वही तब ढंग से नहीं बुलाया, तब भी हमने किया, क्योंकि वहां पे एक बात है, that was on appeal.
लेफ्ट को नहीं बुलाया, फिर भी गया.
To defend our secular fabric and the constitution, all anti-communal and secular forces should come together. So that's why.
Okay.
What I say, I don't
Chaudhary
know
ji,
whether the electoral adjustment or election bond will be that is.
Okay.
replaced there.
Chaudhary ji,
But
मैं
political
वापस आऊंगा आपके पास. Permit me to go for a very, very short commercial break. It's just a 1 minute break. I'll be back on the program. Don't go away. Welcome back. Let me go straight to Mr. Sudip Rai Burman. Mr. Sudip Rai Burman, you know, your victory is considered as significant. Mr. Sudip Rai Burman, your victory is considered as significant because it is after several elections in the region, not just in Tripura. Look at Assam. Congress has not won a single seat, whether it is a Rajya Sabha election despite having the numbers, whether it is the autonomous district council election, and whether it is the panchayat elections or the by-elections. But despite the odds, you have managed to win your own seat. Now, a lot of people are saying that this is revamping of the Congress in Tripura. But you also know very well that if you are looking at the BJP as your main rival, you cannot do it alone. So, do you think that the opposition unity is feasible in Tripura between you, the Trinamool Congress, even the CPM, or for that matter, the Tripura Motha? How do you look at the situation, keeping in view 2023 in mind?
No, you can't force upon other political parties to reach to a conclusion. But if a political party takes stock of the present political situation of Tripura and the mindset of the common people, the way the government is moving ahead, the way the party is trying to dictate upon the government, one has to take a call. I said only one thing. The day I joined Congress, to defeat this anti-people government and to save the constitution from constant attacks by the party in power, all political parties has to come together, bury their petty differences. Because one thing is very familiar with, be it with Trinamool or left or Congress or Tripura Motha or any other party, all these parties are secular in their ideology. Well, if that be the case, we can sit and discuss. Why not?
Okay.
We can discuss many political issues.
Right.
So there is no harm. But in sitting together, taking stock of the situation, finding out remedies, like I will be inviting all political parties very shortly for a cup of tea after my winning. In there, what I will discuss is not the election, because Congress is not interested to grab power by unfair means like other BJP.
Okay,
What
this
we
is
want is how
Mr.
to combat the present political scenario,
Right.
where
Mr.
terrorism, where people are afraid to speak out, where
Mr.
people are afraid to move around.
Right. Mr. Roy Burman, this is the big breaking story now on the show, is that this is a very big hint. This is a big hint given by Mr. Roy Burman, Sudip Roy Burman, on the show tonight, that he is going to invite all the political party leaders for a cup of tea to celebrate or to following his victory.
No.
And he is saying also
No.
Yes.
Just a small correction.
Go ahead.
We'll sit and discuss politics, how to combat the gundaism, the rowdyism that has been let loose, or a reign of terror that has been let loose by the party in power. And for that, minus BJP, all other political power, opposition political parties.
But still it is a hint. He is saying that all political parties are secular, quote unquote. That's what Mr. Sudip Roy Burman has said, whether it is Tripura Motha, whether it is CPM, whether it is Trinamool. So, and he's saying that, I mean, you cannot force, but there is no harm in giving a call for unity. That is what Sudip Roy Burman has said. Now, let me ask Dr. Ashok Sinha. I'm coming to you, Mr. Jiten Chaudhary ji and Subal Bhaumik ji. I'm coming to both of you. But Dr. Ashok Sinha, you know, in the entire Northeast, we have seen that despite having the numbers, the BJP has very strong alliance partners. Take the case of Assam. The BJP has the numbers, but it has regional parties which are its allies. Now take the case of Manipur. Manipur, this time the BJP had the numbers on their own, but still they retained some of their alliance partners, although they fought against the BJP in the last election. Now my question to you is, Dr. Ashok Sinha, your alliance partner in Tripura has more or less split. The IPFT has split. One of the a large section of their leaders are aligning with the Tripura Motha, and a small section is with you. Now, is the BJP, do you think the BJP will be able to sit back and relax after this by-election just because you have won 3 of the 4 seats?
Who's talking about sitting back and relaxing? No, no such question. Our party always works every day, every week, every month, and 365 days a week, month. So that is not the question, sitting back and relaxing. What I was wondering, I found it amusing, so I'll just mention it here. Sudeep ji left the BJP because he found it not to be secular. Is that? That's great. Okay, I'll leave it that there. He quit BJP because BJP was not secular. Wonderful. Now, coming back to your question about alliances. There are 2 reasons BJP makes alliances with other parties. Reason is that there are some communities, there are some areas in a particular state which is represented by a smaller party that is supposed to look after their interests. To bring them to the mainstream politics, it is sometimes fair, even if you are strong enough to win alone, to include those parties in your team so that you represent the whole state or the whole country. That is the reason why such alliances are made. Maybe that is for winning elections. There is no harm in it. Regarding IPFT, the turmoil inside the IPFT is their own business. I'm not going to comment on it.
Right.
And all those political relationships are always fluid. There is nothing permanent about anything in politics. We'll wait and watch where IPFT stands when the time comes, where the other political parties in the state stands. So it is a fluid thing.
Absolutely.
But as of now, IPFT is our political partner, and we're not talking about releasing their hands at this moment.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I'm running short of time. Mr. Jitendra Chaudhary, how do you see the road ahead as far as 2023 is concerned? Without opposition unity, every party fighting the election, splitting the non-BJP votes. So BJP has a clear edge because you have 4 big players in the fray. Arithmetic is simple. Tripura Motha, CPM, and left parties. There is Trinamool Congress and the Congress. So what do you think? What is the most practical way forward?
You see, I like to just echo one word, which is by Subalbon. There is no vote bank of any particular political party, let's say Tripura, and it is very, very much true with BJP. Actually, BJP's vote in 2018, it was all anti-left vote, and mainly from the Congress. That was scripted since all the Congress people they joined with the BJP to oust left from the power. BJP को एक छोटा सा मौका देने के लिए. So now there, that vote is restricted to BJP due to the non-performance and anti-people policy and how they have murdered the democracy in the state of Tripura during last 4.5 years. That percentage vote share of BJP, which was in 2018, that has declined like anything. So there, now our effort, our initiative would be mainly to ensure that people that can vote, that is, exercise their franchise freely and fairly. If that happens, BJP's tally will come down like anything, even not to BJP.
Okay.
that days are coming. That days are ahead. So that is the big effort for us. That's why that political initiative, all the secular forces together, we are also appealing to other political party and secular parties to join hands that this onslaught of the democratic right, it has to be checked, it has to be stopped.
Okay, now
and
two
the communal party
clear
is allowed.
voices. Ashok Sinha ji, I'll come to you for your comments. Now, two clear voices. Now, Jitendra Chaudhary ji is also giving a call for the need to join hands, among the non-BJP forces. That's what he was saying. Now, only person who is not giving me a clear answer, I'm yet a little bit confused, is Subal Bhaumik ji. मैं थोड़ा सा अभी भी क्लियर नहीं हूँ. क्या तृणमूल कांग्रेस क्या यूनिटी नहीं चाहते हैं? क्या तृणमूल कांग्रेस अकेले लड़ेंगे चुनाव 2023 में, 2023 में? क्या अब क्लियरली जाएंगे, अकेले जाएंगे?
In our country nowadays, only secular phase is Srimati Mamata Bandyopadhyay. Only
Okay.
secular party.
Okay, so
TMC.
So, Subal Bhaumik ji,
Okay.
so are you make
Yeah.
clear? एक बार आपको I will give you time, मैं आपको टाइम दूंगा, लेकिन थोड़ा सा क्लेरिफाई कर दीजिए कि कांग्रेस, सीपीएम, ये सब बीजेपी, ये सब सेकुलर पार्टी नहीं है. ओनली ममता बनर्जी जी इज ए सेकुलर लीडर. आप यही कहना चाहते हैं?
100% secular, Mamata Banerjee nowadays. आज पूरा सारे इंडिया में ऑल पॉलिटिकल पार्टी वो लोग का एक ही फेस है, अल्टरनेटिव नरेंद्र मोदी जी का ये है ममता बंदोपाध्याय. तो ठीक है, हम लोग भी सेकुलर है, सेकुलर पार्टी. ये तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट सबको इलेक्शन में कॉन्टेस्ट करना. बहुत सारे पार्टी है इंडिया में, लेकिन हमारा मकसद है, हमारा टारगेट है 2023 में हम
जो
लोग
क्वेश्चन पूछा उसको साफ करें.
पार्टी
You reply to the question that has been put.
यहाँ पे
ठीक है.
पावर में आएंगे, क्योंकि
ओके. सुदीप बर्मन जी, आप कुछ कह रहे हैं? यू आर सेइंग समथिंग.
नहीं, सुबल जी को मैं ये बता रहा था कि साफ करके बताइए कि जो सवाल आपने पूछा, ममता बनर्जी सेकुलर है, उसमें कोई शक नहीं है. फिर भी मैं पूछना चाहता हूं, जो आपने सवाल पूछा उनका राय क्या है, ओपिनियन क्या है उनका पार्टी का
ऑन ऑपोजिशन यूनिटी.
या तो बेंगल मॉडल है,
ऑपोजिशन.
बेंगल मॉडल को सामने रख के हम लोग चुनाव में लड़ेंगे. 2018 का पहले बीजेपी का 1% वोट था, वो
नहीं, सुबल भौमिक जी, सुबल प्लीज सुबल भौमिक जी,
को हम लोग सामने रखें.
आप परसेंटेज में मत जाइए, अब प्लीज परसेंटेज में ना जाइए प्लीज. परसेंटेज में आप वो ना जाए प्लीज. मैं ये एक सिंपल सा सवाल. आप नहीं, सुबल भौमिक जी, मेरा सवाल तो सुन लीजिए प्लीज. सवाल सुन लीजिए, काइंडली सवाल सुन लीजिए प्लीज. मेरा सवाल बिल्कुल सिंपल है. क्या ओपोजिशन यूनिटी का आप सपोर्ट करते हैं क्या?
नहीं, ऐसा विदाउट ऐसा टेसिक यूनिटी और ये सब यूनिटी से तो कुछ नहीं होगा ना त्रिपुरा में. क्या हम लोग तो बेंगल में इलेक्ट्रॉन कांग्रेस का साथ मिलकर लड़ाई किया है, तो क्या रोक पाया बेंगल में तृणमूल को? ऐसा आइडियोलॉजी बेस्ड लड़ाई सेकुलर पे
सुदीप
तैयार है.
They will not.
Okay, Sudeep Rai Burman, yes.
I'll just like to add, after hearing his opinion, that it's a vote katotri party, and now these people were just above nota, and with this intention they will be below nota in 2023.
Big statement.
Big statement.
इनका लड़ाई ना सीपीएम से हुआ, ना बीजेपी से हुआ, ना कांग्रेस के खिलाफ हुआ. उनका लड़ाई हुआ नोटा के साथ. नोटा के से थोड़ा सा ऊपर था ये लोग. अब इस रवैये से ये लोग नोटा के नीचे जाएगा 2023 चुनाव में.
आज 6 महीने का बाद जो इलेक्शन हो रहा है, ये सबका मन में टीएमसी है. ठीक है, बाई इलेक्शन में आप एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में लड़ा, ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी 25 साल आप था, लेकिन 25 साल आप एमएलए था, कांग्रेस पावर में नहीं आया। तो आप तो एमएलए था, अभी भी है, अगले दिन भी रहेंगे, लेकिन कांग्रेस तो पावर में नहीं आएंगे ना। कांग्रेस को तो पावर में लाने के लिए आप लोग तो ट्राई किया 25 साल, हम लोग भी आपका साथ था। तो लेकिन इसका साथ कोई 2023 का कोई रिलेशन नहीं।
You help as you held the party in power as you have helped in Goa, as you have helped in Manipur, as you have helped in other states. You please, your role is to know better than a vote katotri party. You remain where you are and you help indirectly the BJP to safeguard any individual interest, right? You carry on with your agenda, but people of Tripura has identified you as a vote katotri party to help in disguise the party in power, and that is why we have witnessed your party flags being erected by the party in power. You are being held by the party in power. तो ठीक है, आप रहने दीजिए पार्टी के साथ। आप इस तरफ का रोल, आपको इस तरफ का रोल से पार्टी इन पावर का भाजपा को मदद मिलेगा, आप उसी से खुश हो। आपका इंडिविजुअल पर्पस सॉल्व होगा, किसी और के इंडिविजुअल पर्पस सॉल्व होगा। आप लोग वोट कटौती पार्टी इस चुनाव में, इस बाई इलेक्शन में तो आप नोटा के ऊपर में थे, लेकिन इस रवैये से आप अगले चुनाव में नोटा के नीचे आएंगे। आपका लड़ाई नोटा के साथ होगा, बिल्कुल बेफिक्र रहिए आप।
वोट कटौती पार्टी। सुदीप राय बर्मन जी ने कहा है, सुबल भौमिक जी, वोट कटौती पार्टी। मैं आऊंगा आपके पास, सुबल भौमिक जी आऊंगा। डॉक्टर अशोक सिन्हा, व्हाट डू यू मेक? यू हैव हर्ड दिस कन्वर्सेशन, व्हाट डू यू मेक ऑफ इट? What do you make?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you very clearly what this is. These are personality clashes between old friends. This has been going on for a long time. So we're not surprised. You might be. Let me come straight to the question here. Whether all political parties other than the BJP will unite, there is nothing absolutely wrong in the constitution regarding this. They are welcome to do it. The only problem I find is to remind Mr. Raberman about the 2013 elections where we fought together against the CPM and the post-election violence. And the way, he's a very sensitive man, I know him. He's a very sensitive man, he is very fond of his workers. He was tortured so much mentally when his followers, his team members were beaten up, bashed up, murdered by the CPM. He ultimately could not do anything. He could not help them. He had to switch off his phone. That was his status. I understood why he switched off his phone, because he couldn't help them. They were being tortured and he couldn't help them. Now today when he joins the CPM, I wonder how he is going to explain this to his friends in the Congress who were tortured by the CPM in 2013, in 2008, in 2003, in 2093, and all.
You try to express the emotion, sentiments, but everything is ready for you. You have digged your own grave. You'll end up in your grave. Don't worry. You have digged your grave. You'll end up in your grave.
I think I did not disturb you, Sarji. Allow me to speak. Please explain to your colleagues in the Congress. What was done then was not anything done wrong. It was okay to beat up congressmen. Fine. Secondly, I'll finish up here. I don't want to argue like this, like it has been going on. I want to say that Mr. Jiten Chaudhary also will find it tough to explain to his people. I don't mind if we can, if they get together.
Subal Bhomik ji, आपके पास मैं आऊँगा. I will come to you. Yes, Ashok Sinha ji, please continue.
Political game. They can always get together and fight together. If they can defeat the BJP, it is democracy. They can. BJP is not a party which is worried about we not defeat. If the people decide that BJP will rule this country, or rule this state, they will. If the people doesn't, it will not. It is a democratic system. Absolutely, there is no harm in whatever they are saying. They can do whatever they want. BJP will do whatever constitutionally they are allowed to do. They will focus on development and expect and hope that people will vote for development. They will see the difference between last 25 years and these 5 years and the years of Modi ji in center. You go to any village in the state, any village in the city, village surrounding the cities, you will see the changes they have brought in. but by way of housing, by way of all those
only bhashanbaji,
projects
only
that are coming
bhashanbaji
from the
goes
center
on.
and state.
Okay,
That
development is concerned.
yeah, Surip
I'll finish up
Parmanji
here.
is saying something.
I'll finish up here.
Yeah.
I'll finish up here. The biggest problem in the state is not the ideological differences between the people, parties. It is the ego clash. It is the individual aspirations that are the leaders of all these political parties. That has created the problem. Otherwise, probably they could have got together earlier. Even now, this ego clashes continue. We have seen just now. These clashes continue.
Okay,
Sometimes
okay.
Trinamool goes up, sometimes it goes up.
Let us
That's
move
what it is.
let us move
We are
on.
working in the
Let us
process.
move on.
Yeah, please move
Let
on.
me. I'm coming to Mr. Jiten Chaudhary, and of course go back to Subal Bhaumik ji also and Sudip Rai Burman ji. And before we finish, Jiten Chaudhary ji, basically, the opposition unity. Dr. Ashok Sinha is saying that there is ego clashes between the opposition leaders, and therefore, this is just not possible. And Sudip Rai Burman had an argument with Subal Bhaumik ji, where Subal Bhaumik clearly said that he is not going to have any kind of an alliance, and only secular leader is Mamata Banerjee. So what do you say?
If you talk about the alliance, that comes only for the election only. Actually, with the people of this country, any bona fide citizen of the country, they should not run after only for the electoral benefit. But the question today before this country is how to defend our constitution, our democracy. And that constitution and democracy is at stake. A big danger posed by BJP, RSS BJP. And I have one very humble word to Dr. Sinha, because I also, earlier, the Encore, the TV program, etc., I used to listen to him. And one of the different admirers of Dr. Sinha, he talked about the morality, he talked about the humility, he talked about the plurality. So today, whether Dr. Sinha has
Can the anchor
forgotten
please,
everything,
read
or
out
tomorrow,
to me, please.
tomorrow,
The question.
he will devote the present, in which platform he is there. Really, he is comfortable there. And I left to that
I
because
am not
he's
sure
talking
I'm
about
getting
the
you.
ego clash.
Okay.
Please,
Can the anchor
please,
Chaudhary
just
ji.
a minute, please, let me finish.
Yeah,
Just a minute.
Chaudhary ji.
Please, I like to humbly request Dr. Sinha.
Yeah, please
Yes.
ask me through the
Day before
anchor.
yesterday, you are the candidate. You please go around and visit the bosses, the words. How they visit the people. Definitely you will not also be happy for that. How they are doing all these things.
Now let me turn before.
It's not only when you talk about the alliance,
Jiten Chaudhary ji.
only the electoral benefit. No.
Right. Hold your thoughts.
Question
Hold
between
your
the people
thoughts.
is that-
Jiten Chaudhary ji, hold your thoughts. One thing I have to bring in, into this debate, because all of you are very, very senior political leaders. You are all here together. Now, why is this political violence witnessed in Tripura again and again? Yesterday, we saw a very nice scene. If I can ask my producers to put that, where the Chief Minister, Mr. Manik Saha, was greeting Mr. Sudip Rai Burman, congratulating each other. This is a very nice, in a democracy. See, this is the video we are playing on the screen. There's a very cordial exchange between Chief Minister Manik Saha and Mr. Sudip Rai Burman, both congratulating each other. But within less than 2 hours, there was this violence. There were some Congress people were attacked, this and that, and some Congress. So allegations and counter allegations flew thick and fast. Ashok Sinha ji, why can't we be mature enough not to witness this kind of incidents? What do you think? Because I want your views.
Let me be very frank and brutal on this.
Yeah.
Most of the political leaders they are friendly with each other, but at the lower level, they create enemies. Yesterday's trouble, or the trouble in that night, what came was that I was leading a group to attack Mr. Rai Burman. I'll tell you something. Mr. Rai Burman knows well, he knows his own name, that I'll never do any such thing in my life. He knows it. You can ask him now whether I am
Never
capable
have I
of doing
ever
anything like
said.
this. What happens
Absolutely. No,
is,
no, no. It is
someone instigates.
even your worst enemy will never say, even your worst enemy will not say that Mr. Ashok Sinha attacked Mr. Rai Burman. Nor will I ever,
Thank
if
you
I
very,
will quit
thank you
politics,
very
I can.
much.
I
Thank you
don't
very much.
involve.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't.
That's what I'm saying. What
Absolutely.
happens
But
is,
the fact of the
someone
matter,
at the bottom
but only one
instigates.
thing, Dr. Sinha,
Someone
only
at the
one thing.
bottom
No,
instigates.
he's saying something.
Let
Dr.
me
Sinha,
finish.
please listen
Okay.
to Roy Burman. Roy Burman is telling something to you. Yes.
What? Yeah, but you didn't attack me. There's no doubt about it. I am saying, I have earlier said, and still I'm saying. But the fact of the matter is, you saw me getting a big bat on my face, and I fainted over there. My tooth, both these teeth, has been uprooted. My nose was swollen up. I'm still unable to eat solid food. I'm only in liquid. But what pained me from a friend of mine like Mr. Dr. Ashok Sinha, that you made a statement that I am doing some natak baji. So that was the party line, that I am shamming, I am pretending, I am not hurt. That really pained me. That pained me more than the actual pain that I received.
I am not saying that you are not hurt.
I
You were
am
hurt
also
that night.
attacked in my
Definitely.
residence.
But Mr.
Even my
Raghavan, even
residence
now you
also,
don't know.
my
You
residence
don't
also, I
know
am
who threw the
was
stone
attacked
at
by
you.
a ruling discipline.
You don't know, because
I am
even I
suddenly-
could have been hurt that night. I was
Suddenly I
next
am
to you.
attacked.
Susanta was next to you. That
They
stone
have
came from
attacked
some
my
place. It hit you.
blood,
It could have hit anyone. You
consent.
don't know who threw the stone.
Last
But to
4.5
put the
years,
blame, it
it's
is
a
very
jungle
easy
was
to put the blame on the ruling party. It is very easy. I tried to stop you. I tried to stop everyone that night. I was
No
there.
one you
I
can
tried.
fight
I waved at you. You
in
went
opposition
past me,
party.
then came back from behind. These are the stories you don't want to discuss on this screen. What I want to know, tell you is, someone instigates people at the bottom, the fight starts.
In opposition,
Even the other day, post-election, same thing happened. Someone instigated. Someone hit a fellow, he hit another fellow, and the problem started. This goes on because people want
No, but
such
one thing.
skirmishes to go on.
One thing.
I'll tell you, there is a difference. Let me
me-
finish this time.
Yeah.
You are talking about something very sensitive,
Yes.
and I want to finish what I'm trying to say.
Please do.
There is a fundamental difference. There is a fundamental difference between the violence committed by the communists and the violence committed by all other parties, including the Congress of Trinamool. Here, what happens is sudden. All of a sudden, something happens, people get irritated, they fight. And most of the young people are very excited during elections. And there is a tradition of violence in elections in Tripura, which started after the CPM came. Before that, there was no violence. The violence by CPM is a well-ordered, planned, designed violence started all over the state. Even if they deny, it doesn't make a difference. History speaks for itself. Before Communist Party came to power in Tripura, we never had any violence, election violence. I have personally seen the election of Mr. Nibin Chakraborty and Mr. Bhattacharya and Kawai. Those are heavenly elections. It all started after 1978-77 when communists came to power. I'll finish off with one statement. History repeats itself. Any political party which has joined hands with, any joined hands with CPM has been finished.
Point well
and
taken.
that will what happened to the Congress after they joined hands with the communists. Thank you.
Now, since all of you are here, I think Mr. Sudip Rai Burman can take this question. Why is it that there is an allegation always against the ruling party? When now Ashok Sinha ji is talking about violence during CPM rule, now Sudip Rai Burman ji, you are talking about violence by the BJP during BJP rule. So is it part of the tradition? What is going on? Why are ruling parties being attacked?
Ask Mr. Chaudhary about Congress rule in '88. He'll tell you. He'll
You
tell you,
better
ask
put
him now
this
in front of
question.
everyone.
Okay,
That
you
is
talk
the
about,
reason.
you
you
tell about
bet-
that Congress rule as well. I've added that question.
No,
Yes,
no,
Sudeep ji.
okay. You better put this question to Mr. Ashok Sinha and Mr. Jitendra Chaudhary, because Congress was 30, 35 years ago, Congress was in power. And now the BJP is in power, they are in a better position to say, and prior to that, the left was in power. So
Yes, I am
regarding
in a better
violence,
position to say. I'll
they,
speak before.
but yes, but one thing is common. During left period also, I protested against all these violent activities. And now during BJP period also, I am protesting against this violence. All these are nonsense. These should stop immediately. Peace and tranquility should prevail in the state of Tripura. Only then can development take place.
Okay.
Only then can. These are two separate
Soft-spoken those
roads.
days, but
If,
even
if,
I
if, if you
protested
don't have
during the
peace and
Congress regime,
tranquility,
although
law
I
and
was a
order in
Congress supporter
order,
those days.
no pace of development will come to a standstill. So Congress does not believe in violence. Congress believes in mutual coexistence, whether you are in
Let me,
left, right, or anywhere center, it doesn't
Is
matter.
there a declared
Mutual
position of the
coexistence is the
BJP
best
on
policy
violence
the Congress has
final,
or
ever
by the
final
adopted.
CPM?
comments. Final comments from Mr. Jitendra Chaudhary. Final comments from you.
Final comment is during the last regime, in any vote in Tripura, that casting was above than 90%. Today, even after this Chappa vote, even this vote, Dr. Manik Saha, today, he has been now, that is quoted as the Chappa Chief Minister. Tripura's 2 MP, one has become the central Minister of State. The people of Tripura call them Chappa MP, Chappa MP.
This is the first time.
It was never happened in the state of Tripura. They should be ashamed.
Yeah, in Agartala city.
And Dr. Sinha today, now is one of the member of this board.
Last
So
MP election,
I expect Dr. Sinha will realize what mistake he has committed.
To speak on that, please give me half a minute. I'll speak on that.
Right.
Today, Dr. Manik Saha is called as a Chappa Chief Minister. Chappa MP,
No,
Chappa
no,
Minister.
no, I have to bring in Ashok Sinha, but Subal Bhaumik ji, what, अब क्या कह रहे थे आप समाप्त करिए. What are your final comments?
not in our state. It's a different thing going on. ये आप दूसरा स्टेट के साथ कंपेयर कर नहीं सकते क्योंकि एक भी लीडर नहीं है अपोजिशन का जो अटक नहीं, एक भी लीडर नहीं है क्योंकि ओपन ब्रॉड डे लाइट हो रहा है. नॉट ओनली सुदीप राय वर्मा, नॉट ओनली जितेंद्र चौधरी, नॉट ओनली मानिक सरकार, माई सेल्फ सेवरल टाइम अटैक हुआ. मेरा कार रैंसैक क्या है, अगेन ओपन ब्रॉड डे लाइट में पुलिस स्टेशन पे अटैक किया है. किसी फुटेज में सब कुछ है. टोटल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन आर साइलेंट.
Okay, there are, it was a, right.
This type of attack, this type of incident, इंडिया में
Okay.
कहां पर नहीं है कोई स्टेटमेंट.
ठीक है. Dr. Ashok Sinha, last word.
Yes.
Last word. Lot of
It was-
allegations against
last
your
It was a
government.
very
Last one
harsh
I'll say.
statement by a veteran politician like Mr. Jiten Chaudhary. Their party declared the election to be good and fair before the results were out. Now they are saying it was a Chappa vote. They should have said it on the day of the election when they said the elections are good and fair. They made the statement, Congress made the statement, they welcome. They said BJP tried, but the administration was good. Now, Mr. Chaudhary,
No.
in spite
Congress
of
didn't
all
come up
the
with this such
rigging
sort
that
of
you are
statement.
claiming we did, we lost one seat. If we really did rig, Sudeep Ravarman couldn't have won. We did not rig, that's why he won it in a democracy. In a bypoll, an opposition leader wins in the capital, and you say this is rigged. Who did the rigging, Mr. Rai Barman or me?
Okay, Mr. Sinha,
Who did the rigging?
Try to
You
open
tell
your
me.
account in 2023.
I think such political cliches have gone out of you, gone out of the time. Please come with new terms. Forget those old cliches that you've been using for 45 years. Now time has come for new language, new speech, new thoughts, new ideas.
New
If you have
language.
some, talk
Sudipra
about it.
Burman, what new language? You have to come up with new language. You have to leave
Not to
that
Sudip
baggage
Rai
of
Burman,
45
this is to
years.
Mr. Chaudhary. This was not for Mr. Rai Burman, this is to Mr. Chaudhary.
Mr.
All those
Chaudhary.
cliches about, all those
Yeah,
bluffs
yeah,
about changing this thing, they should change.
right.
If I did rig the election, I should have won. It was Mr. Rai Burman who won. What is this rigging they're talking about?
बीजेपी करेंगे बीजेपी ने किया है इसलिए कांग्रेस करेंगे
Who stabbed that voter? One police personnel? You ask them why there are in most of number of the polling booths. Why there are
All right.
not the
All
polling
right.
agents of the other police.
All right.
Wasbir, one second.
also obvious.
One
You
second.
see such-
One second. Give me
Such
half a
loose
minute.
words, loose cannon
Okay.
being thrown around.
Wasbir, give me
Yeah,
half a minute.
yes, let Sudipra Burman speak for half a minute. Yes. Yes.
I would have been very much thankful and obliged had anyone come out with a statement, those sitting on the chair, to immediately stop violence and ask for peace and tranquility in the state. I would have been very happy if someone in the party or the government come up with a statement asking the police to book the criminals, those who are the repeated offenders. But that didn't happen as of now. Though we are having a new chief minister, I only can expect the new chief minister will wake up and give a clarion call to all the hooligans and ask the police to act neutrally and ask the cadres not to take law in their own hands. Let peace and tranquility prevail in the state of Tripura. This is my final conclusion.
All right. On that note, this has been an extremely lively debate. We had all the very, very senior political leaders on the show. Yes, at times, there were charges and counter charges, but that is expected in a vibrant democracy like ours. These by-elections in Tripura gave us an indication of things to come for the 2023 State Assembly elections. BJP suddenly is confronted with at least two new political forces in the state who are really gearing up to come up with some kind of a tough fight. One is the Tripura Motha and other, of course, is Trinamool, although the Trinamool could not perform very well in these elections. And of course, the Congress, getting a spark with the victory of Sudip Rai Burman, and of course, the CPIM also drawing flack for its past reign, but that cannot be the yardstick at this point in time. Elections are elections. The BJP will have a lot of opposition in the state this time round. As far as 2023 election is concerned, the Congress, there is the Trinamool Congress, there is the CPM, and of course there is the Tripura Motha and its ally, the IPTF, is in a little bit of a shambles at this point in time. But we are all aware of the BJP's election winning machinery. So that will be a tough fight for the opposition also to unseat the BJP. On the whole, we had a tough elections on the cards in 2023. I thank all my panelists for participating in the program, Mr. Sudip Rai Burman, Dr. Ashok Sinha, Mr. Jitendra Chaudhary, and Mr. Subal Bhaumik, and the viewers for watching the program. Good night and goodbye.